Hi everyone, it's Johnny Seed here again, and today I thought I'd look at some of my CD singles and also some other CD related oddities and things of interest. So I thought we'd start off with just the regular CD singles. Got one here from the Ward Brothers. This is their song Cross That Bridge. Now the Ward Brothers were from Barnsley. This was their only hit. I think it got to number 32 in the charts in the UK. And also in Holland. It's not bad, it's very 80s, as you can probably imagine, for something that was released in 1987. It was produced by Don Was. I'm guessing that's the same Don Was as Was Not Was. Not sure how that's pronounced. Anyway, yeah, so on here we have three different versions of Cross That Bridge. It's not a bad song. Cross that bridge when we come to it, there's a problem, we'll get over it. That's pretty much the melody anyway. Yeah, and he's sporting a very early 80s haircut there, but I guess he could still get away with that in 87. So, it's the Ward Brothers. Next up, we have Broken English, and their song Coming On Strong. I remember seeing this one on the chart show, I think it was. I think I was probably impressed by their tribute to Ghostbusters. I don't know if you can just make that out there. They're wearing amps on their back, like, what are they called? I want to say proton packs, that's not right, is it? Whatever the Ghostbusters have on their backs, I've forgotten. But yeah, if you're not familiar with this song, it's got a very, the first time you hear it, you'll think, oh, that sounds like a Rolling Stones sort of song. And especially the singer, he sings in a very Mick Jagger sort of way. But that's no surprise because he was actually in a Stones tribute band. I think he still is in a Stones tribute band. So yeah, this was their, I think they made one album, which apparently came out 10 years after it was recorded. So they appeared on a programme called The Roxy. I think they were on the first episode, and it was ITV's attempt to compete with Top of the Pops in the mid to late 80s, which obviously wasn't very successful. And on here we have 4 tracks coming on strong, the Fallout mix, Suffer in Silence coming on strong, I'm guessing that's going to be the 7-inch version, and a song called Fire Me Up, the long version. So yeah, Broken English. Right, I'll just whiz through the next few. We have the Sisters of Mercy, This Corrosion. Really like this one. Again, it's in a gatefold. I quite like these cardboard sleeves for CD singles and CD albums as well. I think I was thinking about this while I was putting this video together. I think it's the jewel cases that put me off CDs. There's something about, I don't know, them being in a jewel case that I've no idea. I can't explain what it is, but this to me just seems like a miniature version of the album. Whoops. And this to me seems like a miniature version of the album, so it kind of, I don't know, it feels more right in some way. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So yeah, This Corrosion by the Sisters of Mercy. This has also got the track Torch and Colours on here, so there we go, 3 tracks. Right, and a couple from Rhythm King. This is Bomb the Bass and Mega Blast. See this one, you know, this is the sort of slimlined CD jewel case for CD singles. There's the actual, whoops, there's the actual CD. As you can see, I don't know if you can make out on the back how much this track has been used. So I think by the, probably by the mid to late 80s, it must have been the case where CD manufacturing the full-size discs, it was probably just as cheap to manufacture them with only like, I don't know, 15-20 minutes on, rather than the 70 odd minutes you get on, you know, you could get on them. So yeah, this is Bomb the Bass, Mega Blast, and also on here we have, well actually the first track is called Don't Make Me Wait. Oh, yeah, Mega Blast, Don't Make Me Wait. Mega Blast, this track 2 is Mega Blast Hip Hop on Precinct 13 featuring Merlin. And then we have Don't Make Me Wait, the Maximum Frequency Mix featuring Lorraine. And then track 4, Mega Blast Original Rap, that's featuring Merlin. So you really like this kind of era of electro dance music from the late 80s. And again, some more Bomb the Bass. This is an import from HMV. Check out the original sticker. And this is Beat This. And again on Rhythm King. And I don't think this is just a J card. So on here we have the extended diss, a radio edit, bonus beats, and the Gangsta Boogie including remix mix. There we go. And we have of course the Watchman smiley face, which is very hit back in the 80s. This is obviously before the film came out, so a good reference. Okay, we have Meatloaf, Special Girl. Yeah, not one of mine this, though I did notice it came with a very nice cloth insert. Not sure if that is actual cloth. So this one here we have the song Special Girl, Dead Ringer for Love Live, One More Kiss, and Paradise Paradise from Cornwall, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights live by Mr. Meatloaf. Alright, and another one of my favourites from the 80s, this is Pump Up the Volume by Mars. If you remember from my 12-inch singles videos, I showed a colour box 12-inch. This is the follow-up of sorts. This is the band that Colourbox morphed into, Mars, Pump Up the Volume. And another nice gatefold, you can see. Yeah, and again, one of the most, well for me anyway, one of the most influential pieces of music. It showed that given the right technology, you could just, you know, use samples, which is a, you know, a, what's what I'm thinking of?
He's losing the plot.
I can't think what I'm thinking of. Anyway.
Quick, just show the disc whilst you think of something clever to say.
That's the actual disc. So using samples nowadays is quite ubiquitous, but you have to think that back in the 80s it was a brand new thing, and so the idea of creating a new piece of music solely from other pieces of music was quite novel. I know that previously, I think in the 50s and 60s maybe, there was a thing called musique concrète, if I'm pronouncing that right, which was kind of using tape loops to create new compositions and new forms of art. But yeah, this is one of the earliest examples of a top 40 hit anyway in the UK, being constructed pretty much entirely from other records. So yeah, it was a very novel idea, one which to my teenage mind sparks a lot of interest. It's like, wow, that's a really cool idea. I can think of lots of bits of music that I'd like to, you know, take a piece of here, the bass line from there, the drums from that. But of course the technology wasn't really around at a consumer level anyway back in the mid-80s, so, you know. Yeah, Pump Up the Volume from Mars.
Well done.
Right, next we have, I was going to say Swing Out Sister then, and then I was going to say Sisters of Mercy, but no, it's Shakespeare's Sister, and the track Stay. This is from 1990, I think. It's one of the latest CD singles I own. It's got a very nice picture disc, which I'll try and show properly. There we go. And on here we have the track Stay, we have the track Dirty Mind, we have the track Dirty Mind, a easy remix, Run Silent, the Revolution remix, and excerpts from the forthcoming album. So that's interesting. So yeah, great song that, Stay. I would have thought Shakespeare's Sister would have done a lot more than they did. I'll have to look up what they did. Did they release any more albums? I don't think they had many more charts, but this was excellent. Right, a couple more that I think my brother picked up. Go West, this is not a great song. I Want to Hear It From You, which is weirdly called I Want to Hear It From You, and in brackets, A Day in Aarhus, as in Aarhus. Aarhus, you know, the place in Holland? Not Aarhus, in the middle of our street. But this does have 5 tracks on it, so it's like an EP, I guess. True Colours, the Sneak Charmer mix, Crossfire, I Want to Hear It From You, I guess that's a 7-inch one, and XL5. So Go West. Their biggest song was, of course, We Close Our Eyes, which I really like that one, from the early 80s. Okay, and oh, this one is something I picked up in the early 2000s. This was from 2002, and this is Styles and Pharoah Monch, The Life, and this is a promo only copy. There's a sticker on the back. Yeah, pause it if you want to read. Release date 2nd of September 2002 by Island Records. So promo, not for resale. I think I must have found this in a charity shop. So, bit of rap. Okay, Carly Simon. Carly Simon, coming around again. Theme from Heartburn. I'm guessing that's the film and not the medical condition. It's also got Itsy Bitsy Spider on it, which is, yes, that Itsy Bitsy Spider, and a song called If It Wasn't Love. Yeah, from 1986. Good song, this. Right, Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, not Heads. Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. I Hate Myself for Loving You. And then we have the band. And on here we have the track I Hate Myself for Loving You, I Can't Control Myself, I Hate Myself for Loving You live, and Love is Pain live. So yeah, bit of Joan Jett goodness. And the Bangles, one of my favourite bands from the 80s, and this is their track In Your Room, and it also has on here the track Bell Jar and Hazy Shade of Winter remix, which is one of my favourite Bangles tracks. Cool. And okay, China Crisis, another one I'm not that familiar with. I think it must have been a Brothers purchase. Their song King in a Catholic Style is probably one of my favourite China Crisis songs. Better double check that's the right band. Yeah, pretty sure it is. This is their song Best Kept Secret. And another gatefold. And there's a few other tracks on here. The Instigator, Black Man Ray, You Did Cut Me, and Arizona Sky, even. Yes. I thought, Darren Aronofsky? Yes, that's typesetting for you. And blindness. Right, and moving on seeking into the next section here, we have Prince, I Wish You Heaven. This is one I remember picking up. And it's got parts 1, 2 and 3. However, this is a 3-inch CD single. As you can see, it's in its holder here. So if you're not familiar with 3-inch CD singles, I do have a few more, which I'm going to show you in a moment. So yeah, these were, so that's what they look like au naturel. So yeah, of course, naturally the hole in the middle is the same size as a regular CD. So yeah, these were introduced in 1987. The idea was to replace the 7-inch single, but it never really took off. Mainly because unless you had a CD tray which would fit one of these in, you had to use one of these adapters. So they were obviously often selling them with these things already in the packaging. So that one there is from Philips. So yeah, they didn't really take off. You could fit about 20 minutes of music on them. So in comparison with a regular CD, they'd fit about 20 minutes of music on, which is about 180 to 200 megabytes of data. So yeah, a lot less than a regular CD. But they didn't really take off. I think they were still being produced in Japan for music up until about 2000. Although you will still find them occasionally when you buy software or hardware. I've had a couple recently, unfortunately I can't get my hands on them, where they come with just like the drivers on. Because I guess most computer trays have the 3-inch hole slot for them. Anyway, yeah, so they are still around. So I'll just show you the ones I have. And these are, I do really like the miniatureness of them. This one is Forbidden Colours, by David Sylvian and Ryuichi Sakamoto. David Sylvian was in the band Japan, and Ryuichi Sakamoto was from the country Japan. He's a composer. This was the track, the title track from the film Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which I think David Bowie was in. So yeah, and also on here we have the tracks Bamboo Houses and Bamboo Music. So this was originally came out in 1983, but this CD single version came out in 1988. So I'm guessing they just re-released it to have it on this little mini format, because they were more popular in Japan apparently. Right, and a few more. We have Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me. There we go. And a brass band in African chimes. That's 9 minutes long. Not familiar with that one, but I am very familiar with Don't You Forget About Me, of course. And we have Paula Abdul, Straight Up. And we have, a 12-inch remix, a power mix, a house mix, and a Marley Marl mix. Marley Marl. I don't know, I've not heard it in many years. And Phil Collins and The Day in Paradise. Aerosmith, Love in an Elevator. This one is Mini Gatefold, look at that. How cool is that? Very cool indeed. Oh yeah. That's very thin, that side there, so it's a very bijou. What does it say on here? We have the tracks Love in an Elevator, Ain't Enough and Young Lust from 1989. Great album, that, Pump. And finally another reissue, The Doors. This is Riders on the Storm and The End. So you've got a double dose of maximum Doors. Yeah, that's not bad going, that, is it? So yeah, we're pushing 20 minutes there. So again, I'm not sure why this was re-released as a single. I don't know if it was for any particular occasion or not. I'll just take this one out and now we can see how cool that looks. Okay, and just a couple more CDs of interest. We have, well, you're probably thinking, what? Dire Straits' Love Over Gold, what's so interesting about that? It's some of the most mildest music ever put to disc. However, this is apparently one of the very, very earliest CDs ever released. This came out in 1982. I think the first ever commercially available CDs came out earlier in 1982, and as far as I can tell, this came out in August of 1982. And the reason I can tell that is by this number here. It's Vertigo Records 800-088-2. The 800 series -2 was the first batch of CDs that were pressed by Phonogram in Germany for European release, and this was one of them. I mean, it was probably about, I don't know, 20 or 30 of the titles, but this is pretty much the oldest CD I own. And that's the actual disc, and there's the booklet. So yeah, not much has changed really in CD design. This is just the lyrics and a reproduction of the album art. So yeah, this is one of the earliest CDs out there. I think the first ever one was Billy Joel album, and I think there was an ABBA album as well previous to that, which was possibly not fully released on CD, I'm not sure. And okay, so something that isn't actually a CD, this is a video CD. And look, it's gold. Yeah, there you go. So this is a CD-sized disc designed for Laserdisc players. It's got 2 tracks of audio on here, which you can play in a CD player. However, there's also a video track, which is not digital, so you can't play it on a in a DVD player or on a computer. It just won't read it, doesn't even see it, it's not even there. So this in particular, Eyes of the Wind, was a demo disc that came with a Laserdisc player, just so you'll have something, once you bought your Laserdisc player, just so you'll have something to try out on it. And I'm guessing the picture would have looked really amazing in comparison to VHS at the time. Now, I've not been able to rip this, obviously, because I don't have a Laserdisc player anymore. However, I did manage to find somebody had uploaded it onto YouTube, which I'll just cut in a little bit of footage here. It looks like it was repurposed and broadcast on something called the Landscape channel. It is in fact just kind of new agey ambient music with some sort of swirly artistic shots of deserts and valleys and canyons and things. And as somebody had put a comment under the video, which you might see in a minute, it's good for getting baked too, man. So yeah, I just thought I'd show this because it's not something that I may have seen before. If you're interested in the format, I know Techmoan has done a video on it a few months ago, which I'll put a link to, where he goes into a lot of detail about it. So yeah, this is a analog video disc. From Philips. Oh, and it's, the actual music is by Michael Gunstein, Russell Stroll and Michael Hoppe. Names I'm not familiar with. Right, and finally, just a regular CD. Nothing unusual about it in the way as far as its format goes. However, this is the weirdest album I own. This is the soundtrack to the film Eraserhead. Now, if you're not familiar with the film Eraserhead, it's a David Lynch film. So I think it was his first film he made. It took him years to make. He shot some parts of it, and then there was a couple of years gap between shots. You know, he had to get the actors to recut their hair and, you know, to maintain the look. So it's a very bizarre film. It's brilliant if you like weird films. If you're not really into weird films, it'll probably traumatise you. And the soundtrack is just as weird as the film itself. There's actually only 2 tracks on here. The first one, it just says includes excerpts from Digger's Stomp, Lenox Avenue Blues and Stomping the Bug and Messing Around with the Blues. However, they're just bits of music you can hear drifting in and out in the background. The rest of it is kind of industrial noises, clanking, the sounds of distant foundries, and just darkness. And the only other thing on here which is actually music is the track In Heaven, in brackets Lady in the Radiator Song, which is a tune that features in the film, co-written by David Lynch. So yeah. Oh, and Tommy Burton recently showed this in one of his daily records, which I'll put a link to, and his video pretty much just sums up what listening to this is like. So yeah, I thought I'd include this as just my weirdest CD. And that image on the back is pretty much all you need to know about the movie. And then we have the lady in the radiator who sings the song In Heaven. Everything is fine. And some more disturbing imagery. Yeah, this isn't exactly what you call a party record, unless it's a very boring party. It's getting late and you want everyone to leave. But yeah, we have the film credits there. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.